Don't you lose wind in your sail? Why do you just constantly keep stepping and just knowing that self-belief and something's coming?
Because the option is I become a fucking depressed mess.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I literally know exactly
answer.
what it's like to have no goal and no purpose.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Prime Life Project podcast, a place to help you unlock your full potential, both mentally and physically, to become the best version of you.
Welcome back to an episode of the Prime Life Project podcast. I'm your host, Daniel James, and the reason why I'm laughing, if you're watching this on video, is that I just completely messed up the intro. I've got one job when I started this podcast, and for whatever reason, I decided to revert back to the podcast intro from about 2 years ago, randomly for no reason, and it kind of just completely threw me. But anyway, today I'm joined by my guest / co-host, Mr. Mikey Markham. How are we?
Mate, I'm good. This is going to be a great episode. Even I've got to be honest, if you've been honest, you were like, Mikey, are they rolling? And then for the first time ever, I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I had to go and check that out too. So we've been having a bit of a time before this, haven't we?
And for those listeners that listened to Katie's interview, it wasn't an interview one, it was the one when Katie talked about relationships, and Mikey's phone went off. We had no applications for a new videographer, so unfortunately
nobody got involved.
Unfortunately, we're back with Mikey.
Kept me job.
But have you been all right?
I'm really good, mate. Yeah, things are probably the calmest, but also sort of channeled that I've ever had them for a long time. So I'm just trying to ride that wave at the minute. I feel really good, really positive.
It's a good place to be with nice contentment.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's a good word, isn't it? Contentment. I think that's what I'm feeling right now.
It's a good place.
Are you there? Where you at?
I'm good, mate. My life doesn't change much. Like I said on the episode with Katie when we talk about the relationships, like I'm very constantly on a level, like always on a level. However, today, as I mentioned before, I had a nativity play this morning. So for those that are listening to this was recorded pre-Christmas. I had a nativity play this morning. Then I've gone straight into a one-to-one coaching session. Then I had my haircut, come back here, got to record this podcast. And then tonight I'm with you on another podcast that we're recording. So it's just a very chaotic today. It's just a crazy day today. Normally before an episode, which I normally get my haircut beforehand when we record on Thursday, I like to have a nap, I like to chill. Whereas actually I felt a bit chaotic coming into this. But it is what it is. Yeah. But for me, like in life in general, I'm very much just on a constant.
Is that by design?
Yeah. It's taken me ages to get there. Like I said, and I had a conversation with Katie about this regularly. I'm very consistent with my energy, with where I'm at. It's very rare to knock me off that. The only real thing that knocks me off that is me.
Yes.
I knock myself off it. Like I said yesterday, I was in the office all by myself. I had loads of stuff to do and I managed to just smash out loads of work. I'm very, very consistent. Also, nothing knocks me is I'm not feeling very well. But even then, I've learned over the last year or so, unless I'm literally bedbound, I will still do the stuff that I need to do. Like I didn't miss a podcast episode when I've been ill. I just don't miss things. I'm like, I've got things to do. I know where I'm going, and I'll just tick it off.
Does that mean you're just a bit more conscious when you're writing your list of what to do when you know you're getting ill or you're feeling something? Do you just do a little bit less so you know it's manageable and you can hit
Yes,
that?
I don't go above and beyond. I don't go above and beyond. I'm just like, right, normally it's like 5-6 things. It's like, right, let's do 3. But those three things will move me forward. So even though I'm ill, I haven't gone backwards. So yesterday I basically had to create workshops. So literally for 3-4 hours, I did not move. I just stared at my screen and just created these workshops. Did not move. And it was exhausting. But I knew I needed to do it. I didn't necessarily feel like great. So I didn't go to the gym. I didn't do my cardio. I didn't get my steps in. But I managed to move my life forward. So it's like, cool, take the wins where I can get them.
Beautiful. Well, these are good reflections. And do you get quite reflective at this time of the year? Because we're going to be talking about New Year's Eve and New Year. Not really New Year's Eve, more the New Year and setting goals and that kind of thing. Do you think it's good to get reflective around this time of the year? Think about what you're going into and what you want to become? Or should that just be our yearly practice all year round, constantly reflecting rather than just this time of the year?
I was just say yes and no. I think it's good to have a yearly reflection, but as you sort of mentioned, I think throughout the year you should be kind of checking in with yourself. I think the biggest problem with this time of year when it comes to the goal setting is a lot of it is like everyone they're going to join the gym. Or like the fat loss, weight loss thing. Yeah, exactly, all that stuff. And that's basically what I think we'll sort of tap on to today is that new year, new me, because it's never a new them. It's the same them that they're bringing into another year and they're trying to basically, is the keyword, they're trying to change, and it never works that way. So for me, it goes to, I think if you're struggling and you're a bit stuck, I don't necessarily think having the new year as a starting point is a bad thing. Because you've got to start somewhere. So, okay, cool, big thing. You've got the momentum of everyone else. You've got the motivation of everyone else is doing it, which is great. But the problem is for me is that when it comes to goal setting, most people have got goal setting so wrong that if you don't go about it properly, then when it comes to February, you're going to join 85% of people who have actually fallen off their New Year's resolutions. So for me, it's kind of looking at, yes, if you want a start date, I've got January 1st is, yeah, cool, whatever. There's no difference between that and February, March, April. You've got momentum behind you, but if you're just going about it, just hoping, wishing, praying that your life's going to be different, or that you've got this random goal you're throwing out there, this elusive goal, nothing's going to change. I did a whole Instagram post on this yesterday about the fact that people really struggle with goal settings because they've got it completely wrong. They want to have something different, yet they don't do the prerequisites.
Yeah, that's the right
required.
Yeah,
to actually have something different, and that's what people struggle with. That's what people fail with.
Did you used to make a lot of New Year's resolutions, and did you have a bit of a system and a way that you were gonna go into the new year?
All the time, and that's why. So I'll read my post first because I think it's a powerful sort of quote because it came from a book. So the quote from this book, I'll make sure I read it clearly here. The book says, "As I made clear at the beginning of this book, if who you are and what you do fail to bring the success you desire, it is not sufficient to merely do different things. You also need to become a different person. The best way, and perhaps the only way, to become a different person is by forcing yourself to do different things until they become second nature. In essence, when those things have become part of you, then you will have become different." So then on top of that, I then followed that up with a quote that I used, and I've mentioned it multiple times on the podcast, B times do equals have.
Yeah, I saw
so
that.
it's a formula,
yesterday, yeah.
B times do equals have. So the end result in maths is, the result is have.
Yes.
That's what people want to have. But in order to have that, you have to be more.
Yeah.
You've got to become more. You've got to become a different person. You can't stay the same version of you and change what you have. For example, if you want to be a millionaire and you are currently someone who identifies as someone who's really bad with money and can't grow a business, no one's going to want to do business with you, millionaires are horrible, like that level of thinking, that identity is not going to give you the results that you want to have. Yeah. You have to become the kind of person that can be a millionaire. Yeah. You have to change your beliefs, your habits, your routines, your structures, your self-image. Everything has to change on a very basic fundamental level at your core in order for you to then do different things in order to then have different results. You have to literally become a different person because you can't carry on doing the same stuff that you were doing. The quote I finished off with is, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Mate, I was just going to say that quote.
Changes.
Yeah, I heard that on a podcast today.
And this is the thing, that people don't seem to understand.
Nothing changes.
They go into New Year's resolution and they're like, yes, I want to have this result, whether it's fat loss, whether they want to have better business, better relationships. Okay. But if you are not becoming a different person, you are never going to get different results. You are trying to become a different person. But if you're trying to become a different person, you're still identifying with the person you currently are. So the example I use with this is two people trying to quit smoking. Two people trying to quit. One of them's offered a cigarette and one person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The other person says, "No thanks, I don't smoke."
That's
Which person is going to give in?
Different person.
Yeah,
already created the reality.
The person says, "I'm trying to quit." They're going to give in because they are a smoker. They identify as a smoker who is trying to quit. The other person has said in their mind, "I'm not a smoker anymore.
So
no thanks, I don't smoke. That's not in my identity." So this is the thing, you have to change your identity. You have to become a different person. Otherwise, you're going to keep bringing this old version of you into the new year and you're going to keep failing time and time and time again. And you may get the result that you want to have temporarily. So you may lose the 2 stone. But how many of the people that lose the 2 stone in January, February, March keep it off? They don't because they haven't become the person that can do the thing.
And because then they build an identity of somebody that fails a lot of the time or can't hold on to something, they often slip further back than they were at the starting point.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Because they
don't trust yourself.
They don't trust themselves. And we spoke about it multiple times in this podcast. One of the biggest things people struggle with is they don't trust themselves. They do not, when they say they're going to do something, they do not trust themselves to actually follow through with it. So they've got a really poor self-image. Because you've got a self-image of how you portray yourself to other people, then you've got your self-image of how you actually see yourself. And if all the time you make promises to yourself and then you lie, you're then identifying as a liar. So then you don't then want better for yourself because you don't believe you're worthy because you think that you're a liar and are no good and this and that and that.
Let's use me for an example then. I yesterday found a rare bit of time for myself and I've got a new folder on my Mac and this folder's got 1 to 12. So next year, every month I'm going to release just one song because I know I'll feel pride in doing so and I'm really looking forward to having that bit of creativity for myself. So January, February, every month I'm going to be releasing one track and that's just for my self-validation and good feeling. If, say, March comes by, or June or May or whatever, and I miss 1 month, how do I stop? But just say that month's been crazy. Loads of schools have come up out the blue. Kids have been a bit hectic. Oh no, I didn't get that song out that month. How do I not beat myself up? And how do I just go on to keep on creating?
Okay, is it a realistic goal for you to release a song every month?
Yeah. I'd say monthly.
How long would it take you, hypothetically, right now? So you haven't got a song in your head. How long would it take you from thinking about a song to actually getting it actually out there? How long does it take the process?
Well, because I do my walk in the morning every morning now, 2 hours. I've already probably got 3 songs in the bank. I just need to get them recorded and built.
Okay, so let's say you haven't. So that's 3. But let's say for the other room. So let's say you don't have an idea in your head.
Yeah.
How long would it take from idea? So let's say you give yourself a day. How long would it take you from a day to then actually having it recorded, done, uploaded? How long roughly would it take you?
Without an idea. Wow. It's hard with creativity because it can be quite really just hit you in spurts.
Hypothetically.
But hypothetically, it could take a day, 3 days of writing it and sculpting it and going, that's kind of what I want to say. I'm happy with that. I've got friends that are really precious and it takes a year for them to do one song. But for me, I could do writing that I'm happy with in 3 days. I could then start practice it in my head or on the walk for another 3 days, 4 days. And then I'm like, oh, I could perform this well now. And then I could be back on the particular day where I'm like, this is good. Record it in a day. Then you just got to mix and master it. So it's about...
Let's say it's 7 days worth of work. So realistically, can you commit 1 week, a month for the next year to produce it? Bearing in mind, you've got other responsibilities.
I think I could. I think because it's not a full days in this. There, like, if I go in my mornings, right, today's morning is writing morning, and I love doing that too. It's a good feeling. I think I can maintain that.
Again, here's my thing. The reason I'm saying that is people set themselves up for failure already because it's not a realistic thing. So if you're saying no, it's not realistic.
If I said I wanted to do 7 songs a month, that's
so my thing is then you've got to set yourself up for success. So first of all, if you're saying it's realistic, okay, cool. Because my thing is it's like there's different levels of goals. I'm not going to go into too much detail with it, but what I teach my clients, my one-to-one coaching clients, is to set massive, big, huge, ridiculous goals. That's beyond the scope of this, and again, that's what my clients pay me for. But to looking at, like, for the general population of people that we're talking about here that's struggling with goals, my thing is you have to ask yourself, is it actually realistic?
Yeah.
So if the answer is no, then, because again, if you've got to do a lot of stuff to create stretch goals, which is what I like to set my clients. That's a whole different...
Is this a little bit like the SMART technique?
No,
okay.
I don't believe in the SMART stuff.
Okay.
But the main thing when it comes to like where you're at right now, the first thing is it realistic? So for example, if someone's saying, I want to lose 10 stone in a year, and they've always struggled with weight, that's very unrealistic.
Yes.
You're going to set yourself for failure. But to say, you know what, actually, I want to lose whatever it is, and it's realistic, cool, great. So right now, you've got a good goal because if everything lines up, you can do it. Cool, perfect, number one. Then number two, then you've got to say, right, how are you going to make sure this happens? So for me, it sounds like you need to block off in your diary right now, a day, a month. You sit and you then create a song. So it doesn't take you 3 days, it takes you a day. And you get yourself into whatever creative flow you need. You sit yourself in a bus, you do whatever you need to do, and you do not leave that bus until you have a song kind of worked out. Not finished, but an idea or a concept of a song. Yeah. Because then you're forcing yourself to take the first step. Because knowing you, and know most people, what will end up happening is you'll get to March, April, and then life will get too busy. Yeah. You'll miss a month, and then guess what? That's it, it's done. Because you won't be able to recatch it back again. Yeah. Because life will just catch up. Whereas actually, if you've got it blocked in, this is what I'm doing on this day, that's how it gets done. So for me, the reason I've been able to record 2 episodes, again, every Thursday we do this episode, the long form episodes, whether it's me and you, me and Katie, or a guest. And then the reason I'm able to record a second one is that it's blocked out in my diary. I have a day for thinking about it, and I have a day for recording it, and I do not miss them. Sometimes they have to move because life happens, but they get done. Yeah. It's non-negotiable. So the only way that you're going to be able to do that and sustain it is that you have to take that first step of actually discipline of 1 day a month, whether it's the first of the month, whatever it works for you. I'm going to sit on a bus, whatever the hell it is for you, and I'm going to write out my stuff. And again, same with people here when it comes to the gym. If they want to lose the weight or whatever it is, the financial goal, set up your own business. Okay, whatever your goal is, how are you going to make sure that you maintain that? Like what is going on, what is going in place? Let's say you want to grow your business. Okay, so you're going to have to get people into your business, whatever that looks like. So that then requires social media posts. Okay, what are you doing about creating content? Do you have a regular content creation plan? If the answer is no, get that done. All of these things, you have to plan. Yeah. And if people don't plan it, then you're just leaving it up to chance. because life is going to get in the way. There's never going to be a perfect time. Life's never perfect. Like, if you just leave up to chance, there is not a chance in hell that once a month you're going to have the perfect opportunity to just write songs because your life's too busy. It's not going to happen. And same with people when it comes to fat loss. Like, it's just going to things are going to get chaotic and crazy. So it's then committing, right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we go to the gym. Cool. Can you stick to that? Is that a realistic goal for you? Yes. Cool. If it's not a realistic goal, don't set that as your thing. If you're going to go twice a week, do it as twice a week. Because what happens is in the new year, is everyone's like, oh, I'm going to go 7 days a week. Can you maintain that? No. So what can you maintain long term? Because it's better to be consistent and actually move the needle forward each month rather than be completely sporadic, give up, beat yourself up, take 4 months off, and then try and get back at it again.
Do you think there needs to be some balance within it in terms of also your goals should not give you anxiety necessarily, but give you a level of excitement, yes, but also, I'm not sure as well, because how do you create great things if you don't put yourself out your comfort zone a little bit as well? Do you know what I mean? If it's all kind of really easy, over simple, too easy, one song for the year, then I'm going to tick that off and be like, cool. But if you push yourself to a level where you're like, I feel in my heart I can do this, and I think if I stay dedicated and strong and disciplined in myself, I'm going to do it. But also it's a task and a little bit of something where you go, ooh, I'm not sure. What do you think?
Yeah, people have got to be excited about the goals. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
And this is
also, it's like, I'm saying it's kind of nervous to walk, but like...
It has to be, because for me, the goals that I get my clients to set are goals that seem completely unrealistic, because of the old saying, shoot for the moon, fall back on stars.
I get you.
That's what I fully believe in. Like, your goals should be crazy and they should almost scare you a little bit.
Yeah.
But the problem is, for most people, they're not there yet.
Okay.
So it'd be too scary for them, and they get that feeling of anxiety, that fear, and they will do nothing.
I hear you.
So this thing with the coaching, you can coach people through that process and actually explain to them and break it down for them, so they actually go through what I call the terror barrier. That thing of basically get to that stage of, oh, this is scary, and they just stop and don't even try. Most people cannot go through that by themselves.
I hear you.
So you basically need to explain it to them, educate them, inform them, empower them on this is what's going to happen, and then guide them through that. But this is what I'm saying, it's far beyond the scope of a podcast to do that, which is what the coaching is all about. So for most people, it's just they need to be moving forward. And again, because then what's going to happen is once they start to say they're going to do something, and then they actually do it.
Man.
Wow, I can do one song.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could do that. Wow, maybe I could do 1.5.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's all these little things pop up.
I listened to a reel today, Matthew McConaughey, and he was talking about the way that he does his journal and stuff. But he's not just got 5 things on there. He's got really good things that he looked like. I'm going to kiss the wife. I'm going to have my nice cup of coffee. And he writes all the lovely things he's going to do down there. And then as he starts ticking them off through the day, he's like, oh, wow, this is such a great day.
Yep.
And that feeds into the things that might be a little bit more difficult.
And this is where it comes down to habits.
Yeah.
So again, if you're looking at starting a new thing, whatever it is, it could be anything like learning the guitar. I've used fat loss because that's what everyone talks about this year, but it could be starting a new business, it could be getting a promotion, it could be fat loss, it could be saving money, whatever it is for you this year that your goal is and what you're trying to achieve. You have to have habits. First of all, the mindset. Mindset is the most important. Like, mindset is number one. Mindset 100%. So you've got mindset, skill set, and habits. They're the 3 things you need to achieve anything in life: mindset, skill set, habits. So the mindset is literally this entire podcast. So if you need the mindset tips, just go back and listen to previous episodes. Skill set: do you actually have the skills required to do it? So right now, if you can't actually sing or you can't write, that's something you need to develop. Okay. When it comes to me, when it comes to the recording my own podcast on that Thursday, I had no idea how to record a thing. You're my videographer. So again, my editing skills are nowhere near as good as yours, but I had to teach myself to a level where I was like, I'm happy with this. This looks professional, good. So again, I needed the skill set and then the habits. So if you've got the mindset, which again, getting rid of your limiting beliefs, believing you can do it, all that sort of stuff, then you've got the skill set. Do you actually have the skills to achieve what it is that you want to do, whether it's fat loss, saving money, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, it's habits. Like, you need the habits to actually ground you. So with Matthew McConaughey there, what we're talking about is every morning, and people get this completely wrong when it comes to habits and routines. It's not about waking up at 4 a.m, going in an ice bath, going for a 10-mile run and chanting and whatever it is. It's not about that. All habits and routines are just things that set you up for the day. Yeah. Like, just get you, even if you're just having your cup of coffee, 5 minutes before the kids wake up, and you're just doing some box breathing. Because that right then just gives you that calm, so you're then in control and you're being proactive to the day rather than reactive. Whereas most people wake up and it's reactive, and at no point during the day do they feel in control. Whereas if you can wake up 5 minutes early, 10 minutes early, have a cup of coffee, have a tea, whatever it is for you, and just sit there in silence, get your breathing right, and just be like, right, I'm a smash today.
And I'm in control of today.
I'm in control of today.
Yeah.
Come at me. I call it putting on your suit of armour.
Yeah.
So again, you can have that as long. My morning routine takes about an hour. I don't ever expect my clients to do that. It's not about the things you do. It's about the state you get yourself into. That's what it's about. What state are you in? So all Matthew McConaughey there is doing is just getting himself into a state where he feels invincible, where he's kissed his wife. He's like, oh, that felt great. He's played with his kids. Oh, this feels great. So he's feeling great. He's then acknowledging the fact he feels great, and then it's then setting him up for the day to be like, right, come at me day. Like, I've done all this amazing stuff. I feel fantastic. I'm full of gratitude right now. I'm vibrating on this high level. Come at me day. Because he's already started on a high.
Would you say somebody who's going to sit there at the 31st of December or even the 1st or whatever, look at writing a list out, but in that kind of mentality where how am I going to win this year? How am I going to sit there, channel this and be in control of this year? Rather than the other way around, and is it tangible? What else would you give advice to somebody sitting there now, say they're listening to this, and they're writing the list out? What else would you say to them?
First of all, don't worry that it's coming out on the 2nd, so don't worry that it's already January.
Okay, yeah.
So don't stress about that. But what I'd say is just reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
So this time next year, at Christmas, set yourself a date on the 20th of December, whatever it is. What do you want your life to look like? Realistically, what do you want to have happened? So you're putting yourself in the future. You're not talking about it now. You're going to the future. What do I want my life to look like in a year's time? What do I want to have achieved? And just write down what do you want to have achieved in that year. So it could be, want to go skydiving. Cool. Tick, easy thing to do. I want to have lost 2 stone. Okay, tick. I want to have paid off my debts. How much debts? Tick. I want to have then saved this much money. Tick. I want to get a new job or whatever. Tick. Cool. There's your thing. Right. That's what you want your life to look like. Then reverse engineer it. Meaning, what needs to happen for these things to actually happen? So, for example, the first thing there, you then look in order. So, in order for you to, the skydiving is a pretty easy one. You just got to book it. Cool, brilliant. But when it comes to the getting out of debt, getting a new job, and then saving money, well, you can't save money while you're still in debt. So, the first thing you need to do is clear the debt first. So that then becomes number one. Okay, so how much debt have you got? How can you clear it off? What can you do? But then you're then looking at your job. Is it a realistic thing for you to get a new job now? Can you get a new job? Can you get a side hustle? Is there something you can do to bring more money in? Is there something you can do? If the answer is yes, great. If the answer is no, no. So this is just a random example, by the way. I'm not taking this with a pinch of salt. So then if this is the example I've got, I'd then be like, actually, yeah, I can start to apply for new jobs. Cool. I start to apply for new jobs now. I can do that right now, right this very second. I can improve my CV. I can get that done right now. Be proactive. And then I can be like, right, how much money do I need to save realistically each month to get out of debt? What does that look like? And you're then looking, again, I'm not a financial expert. You're then looking at the debt that you've got and you're seeing what's the interest rates on all of these. You don't pay off the highest debt first. You pay off the one with the highest interest rate because that's the one that's going to be crippling you. So if you've got a £5,000 loan, for example, and a £1,000 loan, but the £1,000 loan is 50% interest and the other one's 5%, you want to pay off the biggest one first because that's been crippling. So just get your ducks in order. And get what's paid off first and I can pay off this much each month. Cool. How long is that then going to take you? Brilliant. So then you then know, actually, by July, you've paid off all your debts, and actually if you get this other job that gives you an extra £500 a month, cool, whatever. You're just being a bit proactive with it all. And then after that, you're then like, right, but how much can I save? And then just work it out. But then you've got a plan of action of this is what I need to do each month. And then every single week, at the end of the week, I just give yourself, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. How am I doing this week? How's this week gone? And sometimes you can have really crappy weeks. Yeah. And that's okay. But you've got to then be disciplined and have that alarm on your phone, whatever it is, to be like each week. And especially if you've got a partner, speak to your partner. Can you have like a team day where literally every Saturday morning, when the kids go off to see the grandparents, whatever it is, can you just have 10 minutes with your partner and be like, how have we done this week with our savings? How have we done this week about paying off the debt? How have we done? How are we doing?
And do that with yourself.
Exactly. Like, so if you're by yourself, do it by yourself. Because again, you should have goals with your partner, I believe. Yeah. A kind of goal where you go, especially if it's joint debt. And then with yourself as well. Yeah. But it's then having the time because you can't manage what you don't measure. Yeah. But so first of all, you've got to like, where are we going? That's the end goal. So again, I just gave you random examples of where this person would go. But what do you want this time next year? Where do you want your life to look? What do you want it to look like? And then reverse engineer it. What needs to happen in order for me to actually achieve that? And then start knocking it off one by one. I need to do this, then this, then this, and this. And just work it off. Make it really easy, manageable, small, simple steps.
Be the kind boss to yourself. I had an image then, and I've worked for 2 different types of bosses. One, that every time he entered the room, I had this horrible anxiety just shower over me. And it was always, he'd put so much pressure on, have you done this, and that, and that? And it'd be a complete list that was not realistic. And also, it looked at everything I hadn't done and not what I had. And then the other boss that's like constant congratulating you for all those elements. And you're like, I can't wait for them to come back in and praise you. So be that kind of boss for yourself.
Exactly. Again, when you're noticing as well that the week hasn't gone as you planned, this formula I talk about all the time, especially on the Thursday Thoughts. Pain plus reflection equals progress. Like I will literally drill this in until the day that I die, because it's the only way you can ever learn and grow. It's going to suck.
Great formula.
It's going to suck when you haven't done what you said you wanted to do. Rather than dwelling in it, beating yourself up and then throwing in the towel, reflect. Okay, so this week I've actually spent more money than I expected to. I haven't saved anything. I haven't done anything. Okay, what's happened? Oh, actually, it's my kid's birthday. There we go. Because what tends to happen, especially when I work with my coaching clients, is they'll come to me and they'll be in the pain. And then we actually look at it, reflect on it. I'm then helping them reflect, asking them the right questions. For example, I had a client, business client. She was freaking out that she didn't have any clients. I was like, okay, let's just talk about it. And it turned out because it was half term. One of her clients had gone on holiday with kids. And I went, look at your diary for last year. The same thing had happened, but she'd actually gone on holiday. So during that time, it was quiet. So she went on holiday.
Yeah.
This year, she hasn't gone on holiday, so she's noticing it's quiet. So there she was sat there in the pain thinking, oh, I'm freaking out. But with that reflection, she realised, actually, this is very normal, natural, it's not a problem. And now she's back fully booked again. So this thing's just looking at things like when you're sat in the pain, especially if it's your business you're doing or something like that with the fat loss. Oh, I've got gain this week. Okay, what's happened? I'm on my period. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
And it's something so simple, but it's actually, if you take the time to reflect, you take your emotions out of it. What are the facts? What has happened? And then from there, that's when you make the progress. But no one wants to ever reflect or to sit in the pain and either go back to the default victim mode because life, exactly. This always happens to me. I can't lose weight. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Just reconfirming that old identity that we spoke about at the start of becoming the old person. So the way that I liken this when it comes to the identity and becoming this different version of you, just kind of circle it back, is that old version of you. It's like holding onto a ball with two hands, a big, massive ball. And that's your old identity. And the universe is there, this big ball being like, you have to let go of that for me to give you this goal that you want. And so people are so reluctant to let go of that ball, that old identity, they never achieve what they want. But the only way that you can actually reflect and grow and realise you're not going back into old habits, old routines, is through the reflection. And here's where people struggle, with the accountability. So is there someone in your life that can hold you accountable? So I think coaching is great. Having a coach to hold you accountable is fantastic. Yeah. But again, if you can't afford a coach, okay, do you have a partner? Do you have your parents? Because again, even at whatever age you are, if your parents are still around, get them to hold you accountable.
That aren't going to make excuses for you instead.
Exactly. Call you out,
you've not done that because of this.
Sometimes we hate it and get triggered, or we don't get told off by parents. If you need to be told off by your parents, as in like you said you're going to do this and you haven't, and again, that bothers you, why does it bother you? It bothers you because you've been called out on not doing the stuff you said you were going to do. And that's why people don't like to be held accountable, because they like to make excuses. And then when someone calls them out on the excuses, they don't like being called out on the excuses. Prime example, Theo, Katie's little lad. Look at kids. When you call them out on doing stuff they know they shouldn't be doing, look at how they respond. They're not used to the feeling, but you can tell they are so uncomfortable. And that is us as adults. It's the exact same response. When you get called out on not doing the stuff that you know you're meant to do, or you said it's uncomfortable. Yeah. That's why we hate it.
And usually that triggered response is probably because there's some truth within it as well.
Exactly, 100%.
If there isn't truth within it, they'd probably be able to explain your way through it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing, people don't like it. Yeah. Again, a good coach's job is to call you out on that. Yeah. And help you to sit with that uncomfortableness and be like, it's okay, what are we going to do about that? So again, the ideal thing is to hold yourself accountable, but that's the hardest thing. Partner, friend, parent, coach.
I love that. What about your goals? How has this year been for you? And is it drastically changing next year for you, or Mr. Consistent?
So my it's really interesting. So I've just literally spoke to my barber. So I've been my barber for about 7 or 8 years, and it's really interesting. We've kind of grown in business together.
Legends.
Great guy, absolutely love him to bits. And I was just talking to him about where I'm at right now and what I'm doing. And I basically stopped and went, I was saying this exact same stuff to you at the start of the year because the goal's been the same. The problem is, and I used an analogy, he actually gave me a better analogy. Do you know when you go to the arcades and they've got the little penny machines and basically the coins get pushed by that thing? Yeah. And you see the coins just holding onto the edge? Yeah. And they seem to just defy gravity. They're just staying there. Yeah. That's basically what he's like. Well, that sounds like you. So basically what's happening is I'm there, I'm on the edge, but stuff is then like backing up behind me that's then pushing me over, if that makes sense. And all this year I've had to get things in place and I've made great progress, and that coin's been shifted closer and closer to the edge, and now I'm just sat there waiting for stuff to build up behind me, the momentum for it to finally drop. That's where I'm at, and it's taken me the year to really get it going. Like, I've made substantial strides in where I'm at and where I'm going, and again, becoming that different person. So I made the decision last year that I was going to become a person that wasn't wearing all that branded clothing and my hoodies. I made the decision that, again, when I do this podcast and when I come to work, I'm going to dress smarter. Again, it's cold today, which is why I've got my fleece on.
You look smart,
but again,
still, man.
the backdrop, that's why we don't have the bookcase behind me. I wanted to upgrade. the table, everything has upgraded and changed because like I need to become this person in order to get this result.
Yeah.
And again, there's a gestation period, meaning that just because I've decided to become this person and I've started to do the things does not mean I'm going to get the results straight away. And that's where I'm at now. I'm feeling this momentum behind me and it's really starting to build up now. So for me, have I achieved what I want to do this year? No, but I massively underestimated how long it would take me to do it and the person I had to become in order to get the thing. Does that make sense?
How don't you lose wind in your sail? Why do you just constantly keep stepping and just knowing that self-belief and something's coming?
Because the option is I become a fucking depressed mess.
Exactly, yeah.
I literally know,
Good
I know
answer.
exactly what it's like to
Yeah.
have no goal and no purpose.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I know where I'm going, and if until the day that I die, I'm pushing towards that.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that and be living with some purpose and hope of this is gonna pay off, especially when I know my intentions are good.
Yeah.
And I genuinely am helping people. Like I said, for me, look at the YouTube, like trying to crack the YouTube algorithm. It cripple most people. I don't care because I believe in the message and I believe I'm genuinely trying to do some good in this world. So I will carry on doing whatever it is I'm doing. And my other option is I don't even try and I become like every single other person that comes to me for coaching. And that is stuck in victim mindset.
Yeah.
That's no disrespect, but that's what most people's default setting is. And I refuse to be a victim of life because for 28 years of my life, I was a victim and life was just happening to me and I was blaming every single other person. So my thing is, I want my life to look like this. I've already decided I want my life to look like this. You can't do it for me. Katie can't do it for me. My parents can't do it for me. The only person who can do it is me. So if I can't then motivate myself to actually do the stuff I need to do, then I deserve what I get, which would be nothing. It's as simple as that. It's literally as simple as that. And it sounds brutal and savage, but if I can't be asked to motivate myself to get the life that I want, I don't deserve it.
Yeah, mate, that's
Simple. And again, if you're sat here listening to this, getting butthurt by it, like we just spoke about earlier on, like, cool, we'll sit with it. Why is what I've just said offended you? Why has it bothered you? If it's genuinely what I've just said has bothered you, why has it bothered you?
Are you playing
Because
the blame
you
game?
You can't moan about the results that you haven't got from the work you haven't put in. It's as simple as that. And it's not easy. It's hard. And I said on the podcast where Kate was talking about the relationship, like sometimes I can be very direct, very driven, very focused. But again, I'm very open and honest about that. I know where I want to take my life. And it's fueled by not about me. It's because by me getting to where I want to have got to, I know I must have helped thousands of people. Mm-hmm. So I also owe it to them as well as me to do the stuff I say I'm going to do. And it's hard and it's draining. And most of the time I don't want to do it. That's the fact. Again, I'm not motivated all the time. Genuinely, like yesterday when I said I had to do that stuff, for that course, I could not be arsed. I could not be bothered. I cannot tell you how much I could not be bothered to do it. Because I hate just being sat at a computer. Yeah. But I had to do it. And actually, through doing that, I discovered some real fundamental flaws that I hadn't realised before. Because before I kind of just do a bit here, a bit there. But I actually sat down and looked at it. I was like, oh, actually, this doesn't really flow how I want it to flow. So then I changed it around. So something really positive came out of it. My point is, do the stuff.
Yeah.
Stop moaning about the results and the life that you haven't got. And then actually, well, have you actually done anything? That's just no. Why are you moaning for?
Mate,
Mini rant over.
That was an amazing mini rant, and that was genuinely really inspiring. I felt good then. I'd say the one thing within all that, is there anything else this year that you've learned to take forward into next year?
Oh, mate, so much.
So,
This
hard
year,
to unpack, but you just said some amazing things then that I think a lot of people needed to hear.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if there's any more truth that you've discovered and can unwrap for people.
So much, and it's interesting. Obviously, we're going to do the Educating Idiots podcast after this. If people haven't seen that, I'll put the link in the description. I generally will put, because I know sometimes I say that and don't do it. But go check out that podcast episode, because I look at how I was then. That was about the start of the year, actually, wasn't it? Around this time last year, give or take.
Yeah.
And I look at the person I was then to where I am now. I'm a different person completely. Even stuff I talked about, like, different. So last year, not this year, it's right now, obviously, if you're listening to this, it's going to be 2024. So right now, we're still in 2023. So I'm talking about the middle to end of 2022. Mm-hmm. I had a massive awakening of information that I had not been aware of. Like I had, the only way I can describe this, and it got described to me the other day, is that when you first understand a bit of information, it's a seed. And in that seed, there's like little straws that stick out. And from that seed, the straws that stick out basically suck in more information. So as that sucks in, the circle gets bigger. And when that circle gets bigger, more straws come out. It sucks in more information. So your knowledge gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And each time it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you have more straws that stick out to suck in information. And the more and bigger it gets, the more you feel like you don't know. Because there's a bigger surface area and there's more things that you're aware of that you didn't know. So actually, as you know more stuff, you feel more stupid. And that has literally been me this year. Because last year I had such an influx of knowledge that my surface area expanded massively, which then made me aware of more information that I think I must have skipped some steps because this information came in.
What is it? The more you know, the less you understand.
And that's it. But there's this diagram that one of my mentors explained to me. I was like, this literally is it.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, because the more knowledge you get, your circle grows.
Yeah.
And then you get more like information straws. So you're then privy to more information.
Yeah.
But because the big surface area is bigger,
yeah,
it's like, wow, where's this stuff come from? So when you first start out, you're not aware of the stuff that you don't know because it's so far out of your knowledge. But the more it grows, the more you're aware of all this different stuff. So this last year...
It's quite a humbling thing, though,
Oh,
isn't
it's
it?
incredible. I love it.
You.
I literally love it. But sometimes it can be crippling if you don't know this because you feel stupid. And at certain points this year, I felt like I was going backwards, but I wasn't. I just hadn't really sat with the information that I'd learned.
There's a psychological theory that happens. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. Have you heard of that?
Nope.
But it's where the circle's really small, so they've got a base level knowledge of everything, and then they think they're a lot smarter than they actually
That's
are.
what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. That's basically exactly what he says. He says that when you don't know anything, he says, look at your teenagers.
Yeah,
basically,
exactly.
the guy says, you look at teenagers,
Dunning-Kruger effect.
Their knowledge is so small, but they know a lot about this one thing,
yes,
and they're so passionate about it, but it's like they don't have any more concept to see.
It's like the evolution of adolescence. When you start broadening, you're like, oh God, I know nothing.
Yeah.
But I had that realization in my 20s when I wanted to sort of change the world and educate the world. And then when I started broadening it was like, oh, this is beautiful because I'm just going to do my best within it. Yep. I know, like you said, intentions are good. My intentions are pure now, but I don't feel like I know everything, whereas I did before.
And that's the thing. People, so the thing for me to answer your question, I know you said what stuff, mate, so much stuff. Like, I can't, again, all stuff I'm learning is, if anyone wants to know, just listen to my Thursday thoughts. So normally my Thursday thoughts and me basically talk about stuff that I've learned and implemented. That's all it is. So when I'm looking at it, I'm sat there like, oh, what have I learned this week, or what's resonated with me? And then I'd create the Thursday thoughts on it. So the Thursday thoughts recorded each week, and it's basically what's on my mind and what I'm thinking about at that time. So if anyone wants to know what I've been learning about, just go back and listen to all the Thursday thoughts for the last year, because you'll see that anything I'm learning, again, for me, I don't just read stuff and then talk about it. I have to read it, sit with it a bit, implement it, understand it myself, and then I talk about it. I have to just sit with it. I can't just read something out of a book, which is why when I try to do that, I tend to mess up quotes and stuff. But that's the thing for me. There's been a lot more for me. I think the biggest thing this year that I've learned is that I'm capable of so much more than I realised I was, which has then scared me and excited me, and then also meant I've had to do more stuff. If that makes sense. Behind the scenes, which is why the stuff that I thought I was going to do at the start of the year hasn't happened, because I was like, oh, actually, what I thought and where I'm actually going to be going, I need to just sit with this and make it bigger and better, because I can do it. And it's that belief, self-belief, yeah.
Mate, would you want to know mine?
Go on, hit me.
Mine is...
you guys need to get better at this. Do you know when I'm doing this? I just go from... I know it's my podcast, I'm very well aware. Yeah. However, you need to get me to ask you questions back.
No, mine is structure can be fun. I was always really resentful of it, and I didn't want to plan in all that stuff because I was like, well, but it's so stagnant, and where's the fun in that? But you can actually, if you structure out your day and plan it all in, you can plan in the fun as well. Oh, this time I've got free time, but that's planned in, and I've nailed all this. So I'm like,
did you pick that up from the podcast? We spoke about that.
Mate, you're like my main person that hang around with. Because we had a conversation,
you were like, you couldn't get hit, and then I basically went on a massive tangent about structure.
Yeah, man. But also, that be the change you want to see. Yeah. I see you live by that, so you've definitely been an influence in my life. I think we're great for one another, because we are polarities in some aspects, but I've learnt loads from you and how you implement life and what you do in life. Yeah.
Just try, mate.
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. But yeah, that was one for me last year that I've really taken away and enjoyed that aspect of. Because like you say, if you can just win the start of the day, that sets you up for the rest of it. And there can be, what I do love, a bit of elusiveness in there, or a bit of like nuance.
Yeah, the quicker you can move the needle forward in the day, the better.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things. And again, it's also looking at what the best time for you to do your thing is. So, for example, at the minute I'm working with someone that's really, really creative, and they were struggling to be creative, and it's because of being creative in the evening. I was like, well, when would you ideally be most creative? And she went, middle of the day. I went, what are you doing then?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, yeah. So I did the same thing, because I was trying to do all my stuff in the afternoon. I'm actually most creative in the morning. Yeah. So I have my coffee, I do my morning routine, and that moment after doing my morning routine, I'm like, oh, I feel really great. I'm energized.
Just
that's
know
when
yourself.
I need to, exactly.
Know
That's when I need to.
yourself.
That doesn't always happen that way. Like stuff happens, and sometimes I've got to be creative in the afternoon. Blah, blah. But I noticed that's for me cool. That's when actually my ideas come to me. It's quite easy for me to crack on. So right, let's go,
mate. Okay, so next year, learning thyself.
There we go. Try, yeah.
I've really enjoyed it, man.
Yeah.
It's going to set me up. I'm going to listen to this one back.
There you go. Keep listening.
Going to be
Is
a
all the
great
questions
year.
we got?
Yeah,
we're perfect. Yeah, no, Sam. Yeah, it's good timing. Yeah,
we got that.
Minutes, yeah, mate.
Are we good?
So,
Are we good?
Yeah, we're all good. Yeah.
Hey, Katie, do you want to ask anything?
Yeah, you got any further questions? No.
Are you just excited for the new year?
Me
New year, new me.
Me in the microphone. Yeah, just another day. Yeah. So yes, anyone's listening to this, obviously you'd have had those thoughts before this, but I hope you had a fantastic Christmas. If you want any help with your goals in this new year, drop me a message. Instagram, the Prime Life Project. Where can we find you?
The Old Farm Bus, Rhythmical Mike. See you there. Have a great new year. Come on, let's have you.